on the face of the Longzhu members. KSV now, sorry, Kingzone now, already complicated.
I know.
Kingzone members still smiling, Peanut in particular, after a tough game, a loss on his famous Nidalee. Bans start to come in, and we saw a first pick on the Tahm Kench in the previous game. First ban by KSV with them now on blue side.
Yeah, things are going to be mixed up quite a bit here. We'll see if Kingzone wants to do multiple 80 carry bans, as did KSV on the red side, or maybe it's just going to be that Kalista. You can see KSV does not want to allow Kog'Maw to enter the Rift, even though I was hyping up Ruler's Kog'Maw. Saw that a lot on solo queue, on Faker's stream at the highest level. He is wrecking face on that Kog'Maw, but not tonight for him.
And it's because they don't want to take it at first pick. That's too high for a Kog'Maw, but first rotation on the red side could definitely be Kog'Maw and a tank support very comfortably for the side of Kingzone. And Prey was the original man that Jugglemore was created for. He was the Kog'Maw in that famous Coup Tiger strategy. So building around the Kog'Maw is denied by KSV in this particular game, but we feel like we know what to expect in bot lane. A lot of things were overlooked in the ban, specifically in Game 1. You'll remember there was no Zoe picked or banned in Game 1. It's going to be banned on the blue side here.
That's incredible.
Azir is going to be banned away. Azir was also overlooked because the Cassiopeia matchup into the Rise was preferred. Didn't end up going the best way for the side of BDD. It's very interesting to see what's going to be pushed up. Ornn is available. We know it wasn't first picked in the last game. So it's excited to see, okay, Ezreal banned in the previous game. The only of the 3 carries that were banned that's left up this time. And it's just going to be a first pick.
Look at how confident the Samsung coach looked when that happened. He's like, yeah, okay. Oh no, that was actually the KZ coach. He was like, yeah, all right, we knew it. It's going to come out. But then again, we have Gangplank left up as well. Another one of these big kleptomancy abusers. Not going to pick it just yet. Going to go for Sivir first.
I mean, you say that without the incredulous tone that I do. We do not see a lot of Sivir in Korea, so I'm excited to see what they're crafting around the Sivir utility, specifically the ultimate. In terms of laning phase, 2 AoE pushing abilities compared to Ezreal, just trying to fish for Q stacks and also for kleptomancy off of those Qs. So this is something different. We saw very little Sivir, especially from Prey. I believe Deft was the only person that played it last year. So different strategy coming from Kingzone. It does mean a turbo rise already with that Sivir speed up.
But they give away the Gangplank, and now you got 2 members on KSV that are going to have Kleptomancy. Malzahar, another guy, he doesn't get banned out, got banned out a lot in LPL, but one of the top-tier mid laners as well. KSV's composition is looking insane, Papa.
But think about this. They hovered the Gangplank and then left it open. They're going for this counter pick. Very big counter pick in Korea is Spellbook top Vlad. Heavily expecting this to be Rascal playing the Vladimir. Vladimir runs over Gangplank in lane without an insane amount of assistance. You want to go for your Trinity Force as a fast build. You want to be able to avoid things like magic resist. This is Kingzone basically saying, hey, take the Gangplank. We have the counter pick. Now actually making it work, and also playing around Rascal being the one who has the impetus. Remember, when you're in a counter matchup, both sides know the story. Both sides know what's expected. A man with a lot less experience than Khan is going to have to try to engineer the downfall of QV.
I'm sure he's been playing a lot of Vlad. Very popular pick nowadays. Look at that first ban by KZ. They take away the Janna, something that could counter not just the Sivir, but also the Rise and the Vlad. That's straight in your face. We're just going to roll you over composition. They're going to take away that big disengaged support. You see Kha'Zix is banned on the side of KSV once again. Neither side has picked their junglers just yet.
When it comes to solo queue, Rascal's second most played was the Vlad, largely against Gangplank and Gnar, trying to beat some of those top matchups. So that is why we see the Vladimir locked in. They're confident, even though he is the substitute who may not play many games after today. And I love that you point out the Janna ban. We were speaking in Game 1 about how the meta was hyper carry and tank support. Then you start thinking, okay, if you assume tank support, what's always done well against low harassed tank supports was Janna. Even after all the Janna nerfs and the changes in the meta with Ardent Sensor gone, Janna lanes well against tanks and then counters them, but also counters the comp that Kingzone drafted themselves, because as you mentioned, everyone's rolling in there with Engage. So very smart ban from the side of Kingzone. And speaking of Engage, more is banned away with the Alistar ban as well.
Yeah, the Alistar taken away by KZ, and then Jarvan taken away by KSV. So won't be seeing Ambition on the Jarvan this time. They banned it away from him. Don't want to let KZ get that first pick in the phase 2. And, well, the Tarek does come out, so nice bit of team fighting presence for KZ.
Look who's locked in here. It's not Haru playing this game, but it is the Rengar. Famous pick for Haru. Ambition has also played it in the past. KSV are in an awkward spot because you consider what Kingzone have drafted. They've drafted a god teamfight comp with everyone running as fast as possible with the Sivir, the Ghost that eventually will be put in via the Unsealed Spellbook to the Vladimir, and then Tarek for invulnerability. And KSV have basically been forced to opt into teamfight as well because you know what the icing on the cake, what the cherry on top is for the side of Kingzone? It's the Vladimir will also win the split push against Gangplank. So they're kind of winning in multiple ways. Jungle here was left wide open, but I'm telling you, Peanut has razor-sharp sights for one man and one man only. That's Ambition. Wants to try and take him down again. It's going to be a different type of battle warding, but it's going to be the Lee Sin trying to ruin Rengar's day.
I love Peanut's debut on this new team of Kingzone. He plays Nidalee first game, doesn't go well, but you know, he shows off his Nidalee once again, then he goes straight back to his tried and true Lee Sin. Gonna be all over Ambition, as you mentioned, a big presence from the jungle. First best of 3 series between KZ and KSV. And you were talking about interesting runes that were picked up. They're not shown on the screen just yet, but I suppose you can talk about them anyway, Papa.
Yeah, Unsealed Spellbook ×3, BDD, Rascal, and Prey all running that spellbook that just won't close. It can't be sealed. It's the most open spellbook of all time, whereas
you
Bling
can read
Bling,
anything you want. It's not sealed forever.
It's Bling Bling on the side of KSV, double Kleptomancy, and then the spellbook also for Crown. Those are the interesting ones. I feel like Kingzone have a lot of answers and also opposing questions that KSV compositionally don't have the answer to like they did in Game 1. So I'm really, really a big fan of the draft here from Kingzone. But even a winning draft in League of Legends, the hard counters just aren't quite as hard. They are a little bit more situational, so need to hit your win conditions. So while I like the setup, no guarantees that this will be a equalizing game for Kingzone.
Yeah, and what I was talking about before we went into the game is Cutie Pie playing Sivir with Unsealed Spellbook, and I don't know if this is the pro level strategy or if he was just trolling as he normally does, but he was taking teleport, and what he was doing was just pushing nonstop. He push, 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 then he teleports to another lane, then he pushes, and if he's not done with his lane, he'll teleport back to his lane and then continue pushing that once he gets past this early game where he'll have heal just to make sure that he stays alive. But it gets pretty ridiculous because Sivir's presence all around the map gets very well felt by the enemy team enter teleport.
I mean, Sivir Vlad are both insane AoE wave clearers. The best of times, they are both very powerful in that regard. KSV, Malzahar, does decent with high AP numbers at pushing quickly, but otherwise, they can't match that tempo. And then if you can have multiple pushing lanes against a Rengar, if he doesn't have the space to look for ganks that can really hold him back, his top lane, Rascal's only level 2, probably doesn't have a point in W yet. Rengar for now. Ambition is going to focus on picking up the Krug camp before he considers his options in top.
Yeah, you'll notice the minion, I should have looked this up.
Dematerializer.
Minion dematerializers taken on both BDD and Prey. So just adding a little bit more potential lane push for both of those members. Was a little bit surprised to see Vlad not taking it. We saw that yesterday. I've seen it a bit in solo queue. Perhaps just one of those free-ass boots, Papa.
The free-ass boots are definitely a favorite. Shout out to Captain Flowers, who came up with that particular name for the free boots mastery. You'll notice in terms of starting items, Rascal is running the Spell Thief's Edge. Now, in terms of the early laning phase, because there's the penalty for killing minions, won't be getting too many procs. Even the Bandit's not going to stack it up fast, but you just rush the Twin Shadows effect. You just rush into the Frost Queen's claim. The penalty's no longer there, and Vladimir having a 50% MS increase on spell hit is insane in the late game. You can do both gap close and also scouting with the ghosts as well, so just a really nice itemization choice, and even the 10% CDR to get him closer to the cap.
It's very nice, as we were talking about, not just the AP junglers, but top laners like Vlad, mid laners like Echo, just anything that you want to get on top of someone with. It's pretty abusive. There's that TP I was talking about, already picked up by Prey. coming into the bot lane. He's not going to miss any of his CS, but he's also going to keep up the pressure, more importantly, in the bot lane.
And the Relic Shield already turned into the Targon's Brace, so more gold for Gorilla. Able to hit something like a Locket earlier, a Redemption earlier. We usually focus on the overheal and also the benefits for the AD carry sharing gold. But the support picking up gold is not going to lead to an Ardent Sensor anymore with the change that item. But any extra gold to supports helps AoE teamfights. Any extra tankiness for the rest of his team will be big for the Tark.
It's a bit of a trolley strat. You really get annoyed by the Sivir never leaving your lane. It makes you feel like you can't leave your lane or else you're going to lose so much CS. Also, your Qs are blocked by the spell shield. Hold that thought. Q-Viz getting teleported on here by BDD. Q already landed by the Lee Sin. First blood given over to Rascal, who flashes in for that one. And they get a 3-on-1 kill. First blood already for the side of Kingzone.
And we follow the logic. We said Vlad will run over Gangplank. We say that Sivir has such a big pushing advantage over Ezreal that she's going to get extra chops in and teleport back to lane. There's so much pressure on the map for KSV, and Ambition sitting there saying, guys, I'm not level 6. I can't come from the counter game. I don't have ultimate to make plays, and his jungle camp's going to be taken away. And if the Rengar is predictable, if they know which side of the map he's on, the threat of the thrill of the hunt isn't there. There's so much going on here for Kingzone, and it feels like they have counters everywhere.
So cheeky, the ward placed to allow the TP to come in, and that insta lockdown from the Rise. Even the removed Scurvy cannot save him in that situation. We're getting a look down in bot lane. Where's Ezreal? Can't keep up with the pressure. CoreJJ having to hold it by himself. Already a bit of a CS lead here for Prey. Even Gorilla moving into the mid lane, didn't have to stay with the Sivir. Helped Rise pick up some extra CS by freezing that while he was going for that gank.
I'm just grinning ear to ear thinking about this particular game. There's so much mad scientist stuff. This is the quintessential season starts our first game. Let's throw some darts at the board and see what sticks. But in this particular game, compared to the previous one, it does feel like mad genius. It does feel like they've got some really big advantages here. And if they can keep the vision, keep making Rengar walk through warded camps, there's a lot of safety, even though they're pushing everywhere, Valdez.
Yeah, that's one thing that you mentioned that I wanted to touch on. We were talking about Peanuts, that's ganking potential, but also he has a ward everywhere that Ambition goes. They know exactly where he is throughout the entirety of his level 1 through level 5, now level 6 so far. And looks like Ambition is going to take this moment as he hits level 6 to clear out the Scuttle Crab in the bottom river. We'll see if he wants to try for any gank, perhaps in mid lane. He's got Crown, who has that nice lockdown as Malzahar.
Can we talk about how Gorilla's first item was a tier?
Yeah, you can talk about it. I don't understand it. What does it mean?
It is an intriguing one. To me, it's about passive uptime, also an ability to spam out the heals, basically off cooldown. Taric, if you're auto-attacking, does run out of mana because he can use his heal basically after every passive proc. So you can be mana intensive, but it just tells you that Taric wants to be auto-attacking and pushing, using spells, keeping his passive up. It's just all about threading the needle and just allowing him to use his E off cooldown as well to help push, of all things.
Yeah.
Taric, the pushing support.
The never-ending push.
CoreJJ uses the shield just to allow Ezreal to back.
Yeah,
he needs to.
At least they can get him out of this lane. It was so oppressive, but he actually finds his way out thanks to CoreJJ. Now hitting level 6, but he's definitely feeling it, picking up a tier of his own.
So if you're KSV, right now you're sitting back being like, crap, we're in a pretty bad spot here. Starting to understand and unpack the teleport coming through from the Sivir, the top lane shenanigans, which are going to continue.
Okay, the ultimate landed, but a Q miss by Peanut. And with the TP coming in and the Gangplank ultimate blown, they are not going to die for that one.
Didn't have eyes on Rengar either for the lane gank, so smart of them to pull away. Frost Queen's claim already complete here for Rascal, so now we'll be able to stack up the quest gold that much faster. Doesn't have the minion penalty to deal with anymore. To finish the point on KSV, though, they can still play through mid. Malzahar is always seen as a counter pick into Rise, able to burst him down in one rotation, especially if Rengar's there to help with a bit of damage as well. So mid lane is the only area where KSV is like, okay, we're getting pushed in a bit, but we have counterplay. We do have ability to take them down. The other lanes, they're a bit more on fire for the side of KSV.
Yeah, we saw that instant response of the Sivir once the Ezreal was first picked, and it's pretty obnoxious. We're already seeing how many times you can spell shield the Q. Those Qs that are supposed to be free, that are supposed to get you Kleptomancy procs, they're just denied over and over by Prey against the Ruler. So seeing that Sivir pick, perhaps more in the future against the Ezreal.
Ambition spotted on a zombie ward. They know he's top side now, so Peanut could look for a lane gank here on bot side. Gorilla not even able to complete anything other than his Targons, but stacking up the tier, which, again, we're talking about competitive Taric with a tier. This is happening in front of our eyes, Valdez.
I still can't believe it, but we'll see what he wants to build that into. Any thoughts? I mean, is he going to build it into anything? Perhaps he just uses it for the...
Not anytime soon.
Now.
That's definitely a 6th item dream there. The tier will just sit on it. I guess you could build a Manon. I guess you could go for another item, but I don't think you will anytime soon as bot lane.
Ooh, okay. Exhaust is forced to be blown as the ultimate does come out, but...
He has infinite mana, so he can just Q a million times and be full health again.
He almost is full health, has the regeneration. He's sitting in the resolve tree as well, so no doubt has all those nice resolve runes to keep him up and healthy.
And again, if a minion wave is there, Sivir's pushing it. Tarik's getting his passive resets also. Just being able to use Q again and again, so not worried about any sort of sustained HP problems in the bot side. Peanut's got a wealth of options, but actually looking to attack the mid lane for now.
Yeah, he just had that one moment up in top lane. Second gank got denied by the TP. This is an interesting play. Ambition at 11 minutes already going for the Rift Herald. I think they must have spotted Lee Sin. A bunch of pings going onto him right now towards the bottom side of the map. So they're just saying, hey, maybe you can get this objective while he's being aggressive.
And again, you take a step back and you're like, wait, that's Rengar with his ult up. He hasn't used it yet 11 minutes into the game, but can I introduce you to lanes you can't gank? We've got Vladimir with stopwatch on the top side. No one likes ganking a Vlad lane. You got Ryze with stopwatch and ultimate. Can't gank that lane either. And bot side has a Taric in it and a Sivir with all their summoner spells up. Can't gank there either. So crazily, Rengar with Warrior Enchant, his best use of time is killing a damn Rift Herald at 11 minutes into the game.
Hey, it's a good trade for him. He takes it out. Only a Cloud Drake goes over to Kingzone. It's going to help out their already oppressive engage and movement speed. But Rift Herald is always going to be better than a Cloud Drake. And so he does take that out.
Rengar's the ultimate carnivore, and he's got a vegetarian buffet available to him. That's all he can look at, is looking for these minions, these monsters. He can't look to actually kill anyone, to get his passive going either. The hunt is certainly not on. He's forgotten about the hunt. He left his notebook at home. Doesn't know who he's targeting. It's just about the champion pick and about the fact there's no options for Ambition. And then we already said Kingzone have the God teamfight comp, so it's not like farming up is going to necessarily be a win condition either, barring significant mistakes from Kingzone.
Okay, we got an opportunity here. The Vlad with stopwatch still available. The silence is going to miss, but the flash forward and the lockdown. There's the stopwatch, but there's no help for Rascal here. Silence is going to pick him up. Ambition going to 1v1. Look at this. Level 9 Rengar against level 7 Peanut. Trying to get on top of this. The Realm Orb will be able to help out the Peanut. He does get away just in time with the help of BDD, but Peanut not looking as strong as he did earlier on in this game.
He's 2 levels under Ambition as well, to his credit. He's done what Ambition could always do, whether it was CJ Ambition or Samsung Ambition, now KSV Ambition. Farming the jungle was always one of his strong points, so the power farming and not ganking is at least meant he is at a very healthy point. Nice move there from KSV. Hard to make a gank stick onto a Vladimir, but that time he overextended a bit too much. Ryze wasn't there to shadow. Nice little kill on to start things up as, okay, that happened.
Huh, just not expecting the Vlad to get back that early, I suppose. He had his TP up, he used it, got on top of it.
I hope we get a replay, because I don't even know how he lost the start of his health there. Didn't even require a Hemo Plague from Vladimir. One rotation of spells enough to take him down.
Maybe his smite was down and he was trying to just clear Krugs and go back and took a little bit too much damage. Either way, maybe getting a little bit too caught up in his power farming. Looks like that's what's going on
he
here.
Just took too much damage from Krugs and died.
Exactly. That Frost Queen's claim, I mean, it's one combo from Vlad, you're not getting away.
Most Ambition thing I've seen in a while is bot lane gets a bit frisky.
Yeah, Peanut trying to have some sort of impression on one of these lanes after that first gank. Not working out for him.
World champion, folks. World champion on your screen. League of Legends is a funny old game sometimes.
Earlier today, you walked into the makeup room, and every single former Samsung player that you walked into, you're like, world champion, ruler. They all just like awkwardly laughed at you. Like, what is this guy saying?
As you well know, we have the respect culture in Korea.
Yeah.
But I always say that being a world champion trumps any sort of hierarchical respect as Rascal goes for turret dive.
Stopwatch is going to help out with that ultimate. Rascal is going to actually respect the fact that he cannot take out the Kive. Perhaps didn't know exactly where Ambition was.
He doesn't have 5 points into Tides of Blood yet. If you do, you basically have it off cooldown in 4 seconds or so. And doesn't have a lot of CDR, only the 10% coming through from the Frost Queen's claims. So another 20% CDR, and he was definitely chasing for the kill, but he got the objective. He has a CS lead. It's cementing the fact that this is a lane counter pick. That's why they left the Gangplank open.
Yeah. I think we got to look at Sivir's runes earlier on, but I'm not sure if we got to look at Ezreal's runes. There was some talk about that rune that gives you 100 extra health for...
Celestial Body?
Yeah, Celestial Body, but you have 10% less damage for the first 10 minutes. Also picking up Iceborne Gauntlet, you can see that the shields never disappear.
So Iceborne Gauntlet, one of the reasons it's preferred, even in comps where you're lacking damage, which is not one. Remember, they have Gangplank carry top lane, they have Rengar who do damage as well. But people are heavily preferring Iceborne Gauntlet because you already have double max health shields with Overheal and also the Targon's Brace quest shield, and then the armor interacts with the extra health from shielding and means you're even more tanky. So when it comes to a 2v2, having armor really makes you basically unkillable as an Ezreal.
Yeah, so he's going to be sitting pretty. It is after 10 minutes, so he gets his damage back if he did take Celestial Body. We did see the Rift Herald kind of pathetically going up into the top lane. Looks like it got delayed by Rascal, who handled that 1v2, and you can see that the top tower is pretty healthy as well still, so not very effective.
I mean, Vlad, Gangplank just can't do anything. He had to go Hex Drink to not die. He's not going this for anything other than trying to live in lane. Obviously, you want to rush Trinity Force, but even to farm in lane, he doesn't have the luxury of going later for the Hex Drink. He needs it early. This means that he's going to be completely on the back foot. That's why Ruler's trying to push, but pushing against Sivir Tariq, definitely an exercise in frustration for an Ezreal.
This is the 3rd time that he's used his ultimate just on the wave.
He has to.
He's not even like trying to kill them. He's alone 1v2. He's just like, I need to push this just to not get pushed in. It's 3rd time.
I mean, usually our analysis would be, all right, isolate the Ryze in mid lane, get a gank in there, gank for it, that's great. But to do those sort of plays, for Malzahar to flash on a Ryze, you need vision, you need map control. They have none in top lane. They've already lost the turret. They have none in bot lane. They have to ult the minion wave just to hope to push the lane. And that means that that's extra safety for BDD because he knows that there's no chance they can be so confident to make a play around mid lane when their side lanes are completely on fire. And Ambition will keep fighting.
Yeah, he's sitting at 138 CS, the same as Gangplank, who is in the top lane currently. Lee Sin, Peanut cannot say the same about himself, falling pretty far behind his Ryze and Vladimir, who, you know, to be fair, are very far ahead of their lane opponents in Malzahar and Gangplank. So
they're using their gold on QSSs as well. Both of them want to be able to push up. Even if that gank comes in mid lane, QSS available now. Russell got ganked once and was like, no more of this, and bought a QSS of his own, both for the mid-game fights and also just for their laning phase. They don't need to have tabs on Malzahar at all times if they have that suppression. Sorry, the QSS.
Yeah. Spo TV production got an upgrade here in 2018. We got stuff like jungle proximity. Turns out to be the same for both Ambition and Peanut. Not very much is the amount, 18 seconds, and just one successful gank for Peanuts. Not the most active early game, only 3 kills so far in 18.5 minutes.
And we have the heat map as well. As was the case with Cuz, expect the same with Peanut in the King Zone lineup. Not going to be a lot of attention to the bot side. Famously, Prey and Gorilla got the lowest jungle attention of any team at Worlds. I believe it was any team in the LCK as well. But basically, push and leave is the strategy here for Prey, as the teleport has told us.
That's all he does. I mean, at least Ruler and ScoreJJ have done a decent job so far.
They haven't lost that turret either.
Is pretty healthy. It's above half health. And so that tier early for Ezreal, helping out with some mana, able to consistently use that ultimate over and over to push the lane back.
And in some games, that'd be enough, right? You'd be like, okay, credit to them. They haven't lost the bot turret. That was the strategy with the teleport Sivir. All right, good thing for KSV is I'll hold the point.
Okay, they are going to go for this Gangplank ultimate coming down, but there's the Cosmic Radiance just in time. Will save Gorilla's life. He is going to get away. Exhaust used onto Prey, but a missed Q is not going to happen. Another 2v2 in the mid lane. There's that Malzahar ultimate, and down goes Peanut. A dive in the bottom lane. Ruler able to pick up a kill down there onto Prey, and all of a sudden this game is open wide by KSV.
Yeah, Kingzone don't have a teleport on their top lane. They switch to Ghost to pressure. That means no ability. Could have been a 5-4. Didn't even need to be. Okay, BDD has a stopwatch, will get out very comfortably here, but winning on two fronts because Rascal can't react to anything. 4v4, they actually do way better than expected. No time to coordinate the Cosmic Radiance there from the turret. Two separate skirmishes. Didn't feel like it was going to be a skirmish game after the QSSs, after the loss of map control by KSV, but they get the map control back emphatically, and while it's only 2 kills, it's wind in the sails for KSV.
It is massive. You know, they take so much pressure off the bot lane. A kill going over to Crown in the mid lane. Props, by the way, to our observer who caught all of this. So we are going to see the engage onto Gorilla.
It's a very late Cosmic Radiance. Gorilla didn't actually believe that all-in would happen here. And when you Cosmic Radiance at low health, obviously much less value. BDD saw Ambition in this area, thought he was going to react to bot lane, but Ambition was staying with the mid lane. He was staying with the pressure of trying to make something happen and keeping it away from 4v4, away from 5v5, paid off in spades for KSV.
Yeah.
And caught also Prey unawares, not expecting the tower dive from Ezreal Braum.
Well, here we go. Ambition getting caught this time around, but they're not going to go too deep as Gangplank making a visit down into the bottom lane. Some wards being thrown out, seeing if they can engage onto this. Notice that Prey has switched back into heal. This time around, he does not have the teleport, but he's still somehow able to get that bottom turret before Ruler and CoreJJ can. So I suppose mission accomplished in the end of all things.
That's what happens usually after you pick up the kills. You're later with your backs, you're checking out your gold values. They're not enforced backs, so it's usually the sort of timing you can abuse. Kingzone pick up the bot lane turret. They also take down the Drake, and making there being multiple long lanes in top and bot is just making Rascal so happy because it's more chase potential onto the Gangplank and more 1v1 if they can set up that lane matchup. 2 items complete now on the Gangplank. They're able to finish them all, Malmortius, and also the core of the Trinity Force, but something like the Youmu's, which is usually the second item into, say, Asterix Gauge third, which is the common build in Korean solo queue, is going to be necessarily delayed. He's happy that he's against double AP, double usage of the more Malmortius, but otherwise still behind for the Gangplank.
He's going to be sitting pretty in the bot lane. He can eventually push in that bottom turret that is quite low. You can see Ruler and CoreJJ making a big move towards this mid lane turret to get a bit more damage. Crown and Ambition, meanwhile, invading onto the red side of the jungle.
But it does mean that because Ambition is topside jungle, KSV for the first time this game, 22 minutes in, are actually running the show. They're forcing Kingzone to react after being on the back foot for so long. One team fight win or 2 skirmish wins lead to this. They take an objective. No answering objective from Kingzone as BDD starts to enter the lane and bot side. KSV, finally, you can see on the heart monitor signs of life. They are suddenly cementing their spot, and they do have a gold lead to their name as well.
Yeah. Gold lead not massive at this point, but you can't always look at just the gold values and what this means. You know, Crown getting very far ahead, Ambition getting some wind in his sails, able to, you know, get some stacks, if you will, for that Rengar. And the pushing advantage as well. The bottom turret is getting super low. Even Crown coming up here with the help of CoreJJ and Ruler eventually. Even Ambition joining the fun. We got 4 on 2 so far. Will they go for a dive? Rascal getting slowed on down. There's that silence. Ambition sitting in the brush here, but they're just going to pick up that turret and back away.
While the innovation advantage is there for Kingzone, you have to say the fundamentals for KSV can't be overlooked. Where are they playing around? They're playing around the top side turret, trying to take it down. Multiple control wards, 4 in the river area from KSV. Ambition shadowing it. That was the safe way to take an objective, and Kingzone didn't have any way to react because there was so much darkness on the map that previously was Gangplank under turret, Ezreal under turret. No control there, and the fact that it took so long for that turret to go down bot lane is the sort of thing that's leaving them smarting because they were second to react. They reacted with their Sivir with teleport later than the Ezreal, much later than they would have wanted to. So you can see the thought process from Kingzone and the planning, but the actual payoff has been lower than expected.
Flash coming in, but he's in the brush. Will it matter? Looks like Rengar has enough bling, has his own stopwatch. Doesn't really help him out, though. Nice little pickup. I think that was another zombie ward that spotted him. You can see just how useful that rune is on a lot of these junglers. And finally, Peanut's vision in the jungle pays off for them in a kill.
Yeah, no true stealth on the Rengar, so coming out invisible wasn't going to help him there. Questionable use of the stopwatch, not going to be triumphant like the previous game, as I hear a shout from Sivir, but just going to run away.
Yeah, and even Cosmic Radiance is burned. Bit of panic, I suppose, on the side of Kingzone. They were not going to be jumped on and at least discourage the KSV bot lane from going any further. Ezreal with the red buff is kind of scary.
And it's a flow-on effect of the previous ward putting down, because you look at the map and you say, okay, what did Kingzone know from their vision? Very little. Their red buff is covered, not much else. They just didn't know where the rest of KSV was, and they had to use extra ultimates to get out. Now they have to run away. They don't have the Cosmic Radiance.
Oh, look at this. Ruler by himself with the help of Cuvée is going to force another Realm Orb to get them back. Prey down to half health. BDD nearby. And Rascal, he got such a good early lead, but he's kind of just running around like a chicken without a head. And now he's all alone. Here comes Cuvée. They're going to push him back. And this means just more pressure for KSV in this jungle.
There's just nowhere for Rascal to go because they don't have control around the Sivir lane like they would have expected with this strategy. The moment that KSV got the vision, got the objectives in top side, Kingzone can't get back onto the map. They're reacting.
Okay, here comes Rascal. He heard me talking about him. He wants to make a play, 4-man ultimate, but the follow-up knockup from the Braum, they're going to turn it around with the help of Crown. Gorilla getting low as well. Peanut is going to get hit by the ultimate of Ruler. This is a stomp by the side of KSV. This is not going to be close. Ambition, he wants that ace, and he is going to get it. A triple kill for Gangplank, another ace for KSV, and this World Championship team is running away with this one.
Exactly, Valdez. They are looking like the team that walked away with the Summoners Cup at the end of last year. Even though the team fight is set up, the team fights are never everyone pressing their buttons at the same time. There's no 4 Rs used in unison, no flying V by the side of Kingzone, cemented by their old triumvirate of Prey, Gorilla, and Peanut. Instead, everyone's kind of alone. Rascal here ults, gets into the back line, but there's no Cosmic Radiance with it. There's no Sivir ultimate. It's used, but it's not necessarily followed up upon. They can't burst down the first member. And this game that was supposed to be run by the side of Kingzone has been a run away from them, as it's just closest target after closest target for KSV in the fight.
Yeah. Crown, nice patience there. Saves his ultimate for the Rise, who he did have QSS, but it just delayed him that extra second for them to pick up another kill and complete that ace towards the end of it all. But man, this is a bit out of hand. You have the Kleptomancy paying off now in dividends. Gangplank on 3.5 items. Ezreal on 3.5 items. Everybody is just out of control. Even the Malzahar finishing the Void Staff, picking up a needlessly large rod. A finished Banshee's Veil as well. What are you going to do against these big 3 tanks? Not even to mention the Rengar, who already has Guardian Angel.
And it's a game where the gold rate actually does factor in, because it's the sort of game where if Samsung or KSV were up 3,000 gold, you'd say, okay, but compositionally, Kingzone have the better teamfight comp. Composition doesn't really matter when it's 8,000 gold plus. Valdez, as turrets keep going down. Doesn't matter when you don't have map control really in any spot. As well, Ruler ulted backwards. That was a celebratory moment. That was a bit of the champagne cork.
A little
there.
bit of BM, you know, just to top
don't
it all
even
off.
need this.
They're going to 2-0 one of the most hyped teams in all of LCK, and he's like, yeah, I'll just ult backwards. Meanwhile, Cuvée is going to get picked off here, but doesn't really matter here for KSV. They're pushing into the top lane with that Baron buff. Down will go a turret. Will they push any further, or will they pull the old Samsung strategy and just back off and play it safe? Looks like that's what they will do.
It's funny how even with Kingzone throwing out all these different strategies, after the game, if you're doing the recap, you'd sit there and say, well, Kingzone had some things that KSV didn't really know how to deal with. Early game went the way of Kingzone, as expected, just given the matchup. Samsung versus Longzhu was early game versus late game in KSV's favor. Sorry, in Kingzone's favor. But as the game went on, one late Cosmic Radiance, winning skirmishes in mid and bot lane. From there, Samsung or KSV have really never looked like losing. They've cemented their foothold so smartly with vision and macro play and all the innovation in the world. just can't repel stock standard reliable League of Legends, which is what KSV plays in spades.
They are looking so solid, so strong, untouchable at this point. I was looking at the composition of Kingzone coming into this, and I'm like, how can you stop it? This looks crazy. They're going to run straight at you. You can't really do much, but KSV have taught me a lesson, and a lot of people a lesson, especially Kingzone tonight, that you can't just draft this composition and get away with it.
Sort of game that's
two
going to
inhibitors.
If I'm a coach, I VOD review this game because Kingzone's can't work till it didn't. And in emphatic fashion, it certainly hasn't. Are we going to see a dogpile under a turret? For now, it's just the Rengar ultimate.
See, Braum can eat a bunch of these turret shots for as long as he wants. But they're going to play it safe. They already take out the 2 inhibitors. They'll wait for the lane. They have that cannon Baron buffed and pushing.
No need to bite off more than the 2. That wouldn't be a KSV move. That wouldn't be more on the Kingzone side of things, but a couple of ults. I just want this turret right now, Valdez.
Look at Peanut. He's already below half health, pretty much useless at this point. Not the start he wanted on Kingzone, that's for sure. Okay, Crown is going to try to ultimate in. We do have a nice Cosmic Radiance. This is their chance. They are going to take out Crown. Peanut is going to go Golden. Rascal in the back, 1v3. He goes Golden himself. Will he have some support? In comes the Rise by himself. He's low, though. He goes Golden as well. It's a blink-filled game. Can they actually win the fight, though? Here comes Ruler. Still full health. Rascal,
though, in the game.
He's not in this one. And look at this. Rascal, though, is going to get back his health. Ruler is going to pop forward. And with the health of Cube, is going to take him out. Ambition is going to work on the Nexus turrets. It was a nice little show, but it doesn't look like KZ is going to win this fight tonight.
Just a single Nexus turret. Rengar didn't even want to fight, just wanted to go for the economic victory by pushing down first the inhibitor, then a Nexus turret. That was the fight. You thought, okay, they've layered everything, but the items aren't there. It's over 10,000 gold lead for the side of KSV. 4v5 they were able to roll through, and Kingzone only have the dregs of their base to show for all of that.
Ambition's like, guys, I gotta get home to the wife. Come on, let's just end the game. Get to work on the turrets. I don't want to do this fighting thing.
So you watch the replay here. Okay, it's going to be a true fight. Vlad gets way into the back line. But I love just thinking about what Ambition says. Ambition's like, all right, I'm tussling the backside. All right, I've been popped into through the Guardian Angel. Then the rest of the team tries to kill everyone else. 4v5, they're able to fight them off, and Ambition's like, well, okay, I'm going to go kill an inhibitor. I'm going to go kill a turret. Ambition playing an economic way. Love to see it. Full screen him. This is how you win games of League of Legends. Not the kills, not the pentakills. So Nexus going down, and his team didn't spare many blushes either. They were able to pick up a kill, 4v5.
Yeah. Players like Ambition have a big role on teams like this, going for the objectives, does the dirty work in the back line. And either way, I mean, you were talking about the gold lead, and we were mentioning all the items, but Ruler, they got on top of him, but then he just Arcane shifted away, and from there, they lost everything, right? The Ghost was down on Vlad. You know, the Rise, he had used his Realm Warp. There wasn't really an opportunity to get on him, and then it was all just his Rift. And okay, here we go. Kingzone trying to make one last-ditch effort, but not going to go in. After the Realm Warp, in comes Core JJ. He's going to get one knock-up onto Prey.
Forces Cosmic Radiance.
Yeah, that he does, and they just immediately back off. Look at the Nexus turret, already super low. And Ruler trying to go 1v1. Ambition now going super deep. He wants a little bit of a show himself, trying to flash away. Will Rascal pick up a kill? Yes, he will. But in the end of the day, KSV is going to be the one doing the killing, taking out the rest of them, and taking out the Nexus in this 2-0 victory over Kingzone Dragon X.
KSV are so damn good.